let's meet and talk, try this on first, pay me whatever you want. These were just some of the things I heard when we first moved to the Gambia that broke my American-minded mindset. But 100 employees later, I finally understand what they meant. And here's why the American work culture will absolutely bankrupt you, make you lose money like nothing else if you bring it here to the continent. Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm a business coach who has been running a 7-figure coaching business for the past 8 years. And my family and I relocated to the Gambia 5 years ago. And we are the founder of Foxeyes Security here in the Gambia. And that's over 100 employees between all of it, which means so many chances to get it wrong. And when I tell you, we've made so many mistakes. And so today I'm talking to you about the American mindset habits that I had to let go of in order for us to build a thriving business here on the continent. So one of the things that I'm learning in real time, guys, doing business here on the continent is that business is not business. And for somebody who has worked in corporate America for all her life, maybe what, 15, 16 years, that's what I was taught, right? Business is business, business over everything. One of my favorite quotes from a book called Unreasonable Hospitality says that, and I'm paraphrasing, I will always put the business first because by putting the business first, I'm putting you first. And so that is the mindset that I know I brought to the continent. You know, let's get to business so we can get you paid and all the things. And it's so funny because I used to hear my husband talk about a lot like, this is business, man. And yesterday we were driving back home and he got like 4 voice notes from his employees. So by the way, we are the owners of Foxeyes Security, which is the leading security company here in the Gambia. And we are getting close to 100 employees. And in the past 2 years, we probably hired and let go of over maybe, I don't know, a lot of people. So yesterday, he was on the call and a few people wanted advance pay, right? And when we were listening to the voice notes, you know, the reasons that people needed advance pay were legitimate. You know, somebody's mother is sick, somebody's wife needs something. And, you know, it's so interesting because when we're thinking about it, it's like, well, in the US, you're not calling, first of all, you don't even have your boss number. Let's start there. And number 2, you're not calling them on a Saturday talking about your mom is sick. Nobody cares. You know, like nobody, especially in the US, nobody really cares. You are here to do work. And if you can do your job, good. If you can't do your job, so you leave. I remember at my last job, we went through, so before becoming a business coach, I worked at a $1 billion company as a business analyst, and then I became a project manager, product owner, all those things, right? And we went through a huge downsize at our company where we went from a team of 30 to 2. I was one of the 2 people left standing. And one morning when I got to my office, and let me know if you've had this experience before, when I got to my office, my manager, the lady that hired me and was doing the firing, because she had to, by the way, they had asked her to fire people and let go of people. My office was right across from her office. And we are sitting here. I said hi, good morning to her that morning. I think it was a Monday morning. And 10 minutes later, I see 2 security guards. I came over to her office, told her to pack her stuff. She packed her stuff. And that was the last time I ever saw her. They escorted her out of the building and they packed up all her things that she had there and sent it to her address. She didn't get to say goodbye, nothing. We didn't have her phone number, because you know, when you work in corporate America, you chat via email, company email and things like that. So that was the end of that relationship. And that's how a lot of places, when I tell you that business is business and how Americans think about it, that's it, right? The relationship is over, then it's over. We don't need more than that. And so when you bring that mindset with you, which you can't help but bring it because that's all you know, right? For people like us who our first job were in the US, that's all we know. So you come into a society, into a continent that values relationship over money. I'm gonna say that again. That values relationship over money. It takes some getting used to. I remember when we first moved And I couldn't understand for the life of me. I had a friend when I was in the US who we never saw for Christmas. She was a single mom. She was raising 3 daughters and she was a nurse and was trying to make ends meet. But we knew that we'll never, like she never, I don't know if now it has changed, but all the time that we were in high school and I knew the family, she never ever spent any of the holidays with her family. Not a Christmas, not a Thanksgiving, not a New Year, nothing. Why? Because they pay you double to work during those holidays because a lot of people don't want to work, right? And so America is optimized, specifically America. I think it's a little bit different in Europe, but it's optimized for money. So I was saying that when we first moved, so many stories, I was trying to figure out, like, how do you motivate anybody to work extra time for you when money is not the way that you motivate them? You know, because money is easy. Like, hey, you work a double and they come, right? But when somebody or people are not motivated by money, how do you motivate them beyond that? Because that's the key that everybody that wants to start a business in the Gambia, or I think in Africa, needs to figure out, or in places where money is not more important than people. And it was tough for me to navigate because I think that a lot of the time it's easier. I remember Bishop Jake saying, like, if all you get from me is my money, you got the cheapest part of me. I think it is easier to build a business. You know, even in America, they tell you should not be irreplaceable. You want to build a business where there's automation, where nobody is the roadblock. You don't want to be the single point of failure. So where I can move you in and out of the puzzle and it doesn't matter, right? If Sandra is not here today, we can just slide Tim and not even realize she's not here and we keep it moving. It's so funny that in the US, if you lose a spouse, I think they give you 3 days to grieve. You know, I'm just telling you this to say that when you bring that mindset, and in our mind we feel like it's efficient. I felt like that was efficient. You know, I didn't think anything was wrong until I was confronted with people who will not miss a naming ceremony because there's work, will not miss going to the mosque on a Friday because there's work, will not miss fasting because of your job. And that can come and be such a shock and a clash, or would need to make sure that their husband has breakfast before they go to work. Those are the reality. Whether you agree, disagree, don't agree, it's not relevant. These are the things that, as a business owner coming from the West, that you need to contend with, you need to figure out, and you need to decide. Because if the biggest thing you are giving your employees is a job, like meaning is money, you are probably going to realize that your employees don't stay long. So back to the story where we were listening and hearing from our staff, right? Like, hey, can I have money early? Can I have an advance pay because of X, Y, and Z reason? Where my husband was sharing that not only is there advance pay, but a lot of the time they will ask him, hey, can you please save my money? Because school is starting. So instead of giving my full pay, can you please save my money this month or give me half so that next month? And it is an interesting thing. I gotta be honest, I think my husband has done such a good job at being able to figure out that balance between being a human, between being somebody that cares about the employees and staff, but also keeping a standard. Because that's the balance. I think it's so much easier, and why Americans, for example, want to say, you know what, we're not gonna worry about what's going on at home with you. Just come and work like a machine, because it's so much easier than to try to be in the nuance. And my point is, business is not business in Africa. Business is not just business. And the people that want to run businesses like they are just businesses on the continent will lose. You know, and I used to be frustrated because I used to be like, but why is that? Because when Africans go to Europe or go to the US, we adapt. Right, we adapt to that system. So why can't we then adapt here? Like, why are we getting the short end of the stick? Why are we, meaning we, when we are building our businesses on the continent, what does it feel like we are getting, we are getting the version of employees that's not always on time, that's not always, you know what I mean? Whereas when we go abroad, we're on time, we do X, Y, and Z, we adapt to that system. So there's that frustration too, where you might feel like, but I don't understand, like, are employees doing this to me? Like, is it a me thing? But I also started questioning the system that we are wanting people to work on, because the more conversations we have, I talk a lot about on LinkedIn and talking to Black women that live in the US who tell me consistently how exhausted they are, how not sustainable. You know, when you look at the burnout rates in the US, like how not sustainable it is to work and be worked like a machine, because let's be honest, that is what that is. I think that we come in to the continent a lot of the time with this mentality that, to be frank, can be toxic and not sustainable and not something like, how can somebody work 7 days a week? How can somebody always be on? How can you be expected to work even during off hours? I remember spending the summers in Paris, and French people don't play that game. Once it's off work, first of all, most of them don't take their laptop at home. And even when they do, once it's time to go, once work time is done, they are done for the day. And that's on period. So I think that the work culture, I guess my question in this conversation is really like, are we trying to bring a toxic work environment to the continent? And do we get frustrated when the people on the continent are saying, don't bring that stuff here, right? Like, don't bring that stuff here. And I don't come on here saying we got it figured out. I'm here wanting to really talk about like making money in Africa and how different that is than making money in the US, and how challenging that can be. You know, I'll tell you a story about when we first moved and how much of a stickler for time I was, because there you get fired, anywhere else for being late, you know. And so I was such a stickler for time, and I felt like it was so disrespectful for my staff to come in late. I felt like it was so disrespectful, like it was something they were doing to me. Why can't you leave early? Why can't you make sure that you, whatever, do what you gotta do, but if work starts at 9, be here at 9. And I had no idea of the reality. I had no idea that when it's raining season, some people's neighborhood flood to the point that the water is like up to here, that some people have to walk to go get water to shower, that some women must make breakfast at home for their husband before they leave, that a lot of the time you don't control when your 1010, which is the taxi or whatever, will get to you. And you can be standing there for an hour, 2 hours waiting for transportation to take you. How you might need 3, 4 transportation to get to the house. Like, I had no idea that it's not as simple as I woke up at 5 or at 6, made some coffee, got my kids ready, hop in the car, and showed up. And so my expectations, although, yeah, you want people to be there at 9 because there's business to do and there's this and that and the other, was not based in the reality. And so my question or not even my question, my thing for people that are watching this channel because they want to relocate, you're gonna hire staff, whether that's house staff or they wanna make money in Africa, you're gonna hire staff as well. And bringing that mentality to the continent, bringing all of it, right? Because there are some parts that I think are great that we still use and we hold on to and has made us efficient and allow us to grow. And those are incredible. And we can talk about what those are. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to talk about the tools we use on a day-to-day that has allowed us to really grow our businesses here on the continent. But there's a lot, especially around our mentality and treating people like they're robots and machines that should just follow templates and rules. That just does not work here on the ground. So understanding that, well, I'm still learning 5 years in, understanding it, adapting to it, and figuring out how to work within the constraints of what's happening on the ground versus trying to wish it away is really important. Trying to wish it away is the fastest way for you to miss opportunities. There are so many things that we've had to build on the continent because we realize, well, that's what it is, and here are the constraints of what it is. And so there's not an amount of wishing it away that will make a difference. What can we do within this constraint? That has been a game changer for us. So I hope this is helpful, y'all. Just wanted to share that with you guys. around what we've learned when it comes to this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And I make sure that I read every single one of your comments and reply to all of them. I'll see y'all in the chat. Bye.